What's up, guys? It's Casual King MMA, and today we're just going to be doing a little rant on the UFC commentary team. Going to start us off on a positive note. Got to do that. Helps my blood pressure. John Anik is absolutely the man. He does his homework. I mean, if you've seen his notes online, the man is diligent. And what impresses me the most is he has such a great balance. As the play-by-play, he is able to do a very good job with his job of play-by-play, highlighting the big moments, but he never gets distracted. When the big KOs happen, John Anik is always giving a description. He's always giving a reaction, not just yelling. And he has a level of professionalism that makes sure that the A team, Anik, Rogan, and DC, stays the A team. He's the glue that holds that group together, which I'll get to in my criticisms of Joe and DC. But nothing bad about John Anik. I mean, so many legendary calls. The one that sticks to mind is when Leon Edwards was challenging Usman for the belt. He's down 3 rounds in the fifth round with a little bit over a minute left, and Joe and DC are counting Leon Edwards out, saying he's okay, just losing a decision to the champ. And right before that head kick, Anik says that is not the cloth from which Leon Edwards is built, and he proved it to us in that very moment. John Anik, you're the best. You're too good for MMA. Love you. Joe Rogan. I do love Joe. I mean, he started commentating for free. You got to give him credit. He is a big reason for the success of the UFC, and especially early on in his career, he was fantastic at explaining some of the more complex, um, some of the more complex techniques in the striking, in the grappling, um, that the UFC needed at that time. My issue with Joe is he just doesn't do his homework. He's got a lot of different things splitting his attention, mainly his podcasts, and he just does UFC commentary for fun. He only does it in the U.S., which I think is good. Makes you kind of like long for Joe Rogan. If you had Joe Rogan every card, you get sick of it. I just wish he did more of his homework. He has great reactions. He's very entertaining, but the commentary itself isn't the best. He turns it into podcasting, and that's worse when Joe Rogan's with DC. DC, amazing champion, double champ, does not do his homework when it comes to UFC commentary. And I think DC is is what drags the A team down. Because DC, when he's on the B team, when he's not with Joe, is good. I think he does a very good job describing the wrestling. He's someone you want on the commentary, but he doesn't do enough of his homework for for these cards. He's not doing enough homework. I mean, his friend Dominic Cruz literally said you don't look up fights to his face on television, which not a good friend, but he wasn't wrong. DC just doesn't put the work in. And when he's with Joe Rogan, it turns into them just podcasting, waffling about nonsense, just talking about nothing. I've seen amazing fights, and if you were just listening to commentary, you would think the fight sucks because Joe Rogan and DC are talking about literally nothing for 30 minutes straight. It can be hard to listen to sometimes, and DC is the reason why I wish there was an option to turn off commentary. Uh, the UFC will post YouTube videos, commentary free fights. I mean, Dustin Poirier against Dan Hookers. If you ever want an amazing fight to watch that fight in the Apex with no commentary. One of the best experience you'll have. But the commentary at this point, especially for someone who watches a lot of UFC, I feel like it starts to take away from the product. I don't need to and I'm not trying to say this to be pretentious. I don't need to be taught the basic stuff. I understand why the commentary needs to be there for people who don't watch a lot of UFC, but at least give us the option to turn it off. And if you're not going to give us the option to turn it off, stop putting DC and Joe Rogan together. So a little bit of a rant. I'm going to go more of a positive note. Well, the positive note is they are fun. That is the one thing. I like these three reacting to the big moments. But that's all I really like them for. There's a lot of time between the big moments. I'm going crazy. My friends are going crazy when we're watching these cards. I also don't need these guys reacting like this. I love it, but it's not worth making the fights itself harder to watch for a reaction in case something cool happens. But I understand the energy. I understand if you like it. I'm not going to judge you for liking them, but listen closely. Luckily, Joe's not on the next pay-per-view because it's Australia. Next time Joe and DC are on commentary, just listen. Listen to them talking about nothing. You'll understand what I'm saying. Positive note, Laura Senko. Laura Senko is the exact antithesis to Joe and DC. Her energy is good. She cares a lot about the sport, but she doesn't have great reactions. I saw some criticisms online that people don't like hearing a girl yell in reactions, and while I'm not going to argue with it, I have to disagree. It's opinion taste. I think Laura Senko is one of the best commentators in the UFC right now. And one of the things that's good is she's the first female UFC commentator. And that doesn't really mean anything to me. As long as you're good at your job, I'm happy to have you on commentary. But what I do think the good that came out of this is because she's the first female UFC commentator, she puts a lot of pressure on herself. She does a lot of homework, and I think that actually makes her a better commentator. She knows what she's talking about. She does a lot of homework. She gives interesting insights during the fights. I think she makes any commentary crew better. And this is what I like to see more of. She has the passion. There's guys I'm not going to bring up. I'm not going to really show a slide of, like Brendan Fitzgerald, where they're good at analytics, but they don't have the passion. She has the balance of the analytics and the passion. She just doesn't have the best reactions, and I'll take that 10 times out of 10 over people like DC and Joe, who are only there for a still frame of their reaction when there's a cool knockout. Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping, to me, is the most hit and miss commentator. I actually really like him with Laura Senko. I think they give off good sibling energy. And it's funny because I just criticized Joe and DC for talking about nothing. But I like the sibling energy of Bisping and Senko. I think they play off each other well. And I'm actually entertained by them when there's a bad fight going on. My issue with Bisping is he thinks he's better than everyone. He could be pretentious, like the next guy I'm going to bring up. He could be a little pretentious on commentary. He has arguments with people on commentary, and it just isn't the best look sometimes. However, he is very good at commentary. I wish his ego wasn't as involved. I know he was a former champion. He has that former champion mindset, but it doesn't matter if you're a former champion. Now you're a commentator. You have to fill that role, and I wish Bisping would chill his ego down a little bit. However, Dominic Cruz makes Bisping look like a saint by comparison. And it's interesting. Dominic Cruz has a fantastic mind for the game, but he is proof that having a great mind for the game is not everything. He just doesn't seem to care that much on commentary. And he does his research. He does care. But there's just something missing from his commentary. The energy is bad. He argues with people. He thinks he's smarter than people, which is where Bisping thinks he's cooler than people. Dominic Cruz thinks he's smarter than people. And he used to be. I mean, when you're having arguments with Cody Garbrandt, who isn't known for his high IQ, it's easy to make guys look dumb. But he's trying to have verbal spats and win. Like, he's trying to win arguments on commentary. And it takes away from the fights and focuses more on whoever he's arguing with. Not a fan of that. I started not being a fan of Dominic Cruz when he complained about a ref stoppage saying that they smelled like alcohol and cigarettes. He just has too much an ego to be on commentary, and he has the worst call of all time. Jessica Andrade against Rose Namajunas. Jessica's trying to pick up Rose. Rose has a Kimura grip, and Dominic Cruz says 5 times in a row that Rose is safe, can't be picked up, can't be picked up, can't be picked up. And Andrade picks her up and slams her on her head and damn near kills her. So have fun having that in your highlight reel. Great fighter, but it's one of the issues I have. Just because you're a fantastic fighter doesn't mean you're a fantastic commentator, and Cruz kind of represents that. Finally, gonna end on a positive note. Paul Felder. I love Paul Felder. I think he's a B-level version of John Anik, which I mean as a compliment. I think John Anik is the best commentator in all of MMA. I think he's too good for MMA. He should be doing professional football and making the big bucks. But Paul Felder, slightly worse, still fantastic. I like Paul Felder on every single pay-per-view. For me, honestly, I prefer Felder, Bisping, and Laura Senko to the B team, to Joe Rogan, DC, John Anik. I just think there's better energy. They're able to focus on the fights, not get off track as much. And it's what I want to see. Final thing I'd say for this video, I just want to see them mix it up a little bit more. I'm tired of seeing DC and Joe Rogan together. Give Laura Senko a shot on a pay-per-view. I really like to see how she'd do. and we just got to mix it up. It's comfortable to watch Joe and DC, but I'm tired of the UFC focusing on being comfortable. Get out of your comfort zone a little bit, mix up the commentary. Maybe we'll find an even better combination. I think they'll find a better combination. But if you're not going to put the effort into shaking things up, just give me an option to mute the commentary. It will make events 10 times better to watch. That's my rant, guys. Peace.